Thank you to our sponsor, EJ Cards, a small but motivated company specializing in cards. EJ Cards believe passionately in great bargains and excellent service, which is why they commit themselves to give you the best of both. If you're looking for something new, you're in the right place. EJ Cards strive to be industrious and innovative, offering customers something they want, putting their desires at the top of the priority list. Find EJ Cards at www.ejcards.com.au and also find them on Facebook. Thank you very much, EJ Cards, for sponsoring us.
Welcome, everybody, to episode 77 of the You Can't Comp This NBA Trading Card Podcast. We're your hosts, Adam, Amy, and Russell Gibson. Russell, that was a really, really disjointed intro because I said 77 last week. And apologies to episode 75 that never really happened. But anyway, we're on track. Welcome, Russell.
Hello, mate. No one cares. No one cares.
I care. I read the run sheet. I feel like Ron Burgundy reading the teleprompter.
If only you were Ron Burgundy, I say.
I wish.
Yeah.
This is the podcast.
How good would that be if we had Ron Burgundy on the show?
Yes. Will Ferrell, get in touch. Reach out. We'll have you on. Third man in.
Have you seen Welcome to Grimsby?
I feel like I should have.
Is it called Welcome to Grimsby? Is that soccer one about the guy from Deadpool? So Will Ferrell is in it, and he's up in the box, and they ask him, like, what's your prediction for the game? And he's like, I predict 12 red cards.
Oh, God. Oh, God. This is what happens when we record early.
It's the funniest joke I think I've heard for a very long time. All right. Enough jokes.
Enough jokes. Oh, on to the serious stuff.
Play-in.
The play-in, the NBA. We're into the playoffs.
How good is the play-in? So all these people who've been out there whinging, including LeBron James, saying the play-in is no good. You are wrong. The play-in is exciting, and it's not going away. It's been so successful that there's no way they can get rid of it. And actually, I think they're doubling down. So next year, they're officially bringing the mid-season tournament in.
They just want more basketball. They want more content.
So the actual number of games is the same, and the mid-season tournament actually includes in the regular season games. So they actually go towards the standings, but essentially they'll just create a round robin, and then teams will play off, and then they must just rejig the schedule around it, which is what they do in soccer.
Okay.
Yeah, they're basically copying, what soccer does. But the play-in for me is just like, must-watch TV. I think those games are just fantastic. It's just like, especially the sudden death games where if you don't win, you're out.
Well, see, my view on it, and the reason, I guess, the first playing game is the most important one, is because the 1v8 matchup is so irrelevant. It's like this team loses and then wins to get into the 8th seed and then gets obliterated by the number 1 seed the preceding week.
And probably that is what's going to happen in both brackets, to be fair. And that is true, but...
Yeah. But
regardless of that,
the point is it's entertaining basketball. Those 11 to 7 or 10 to 7 players, like teams playing to get in.
And my thing about NBA is they do try hard in the regular season, don't get me wrong, but when you watch a playoff game, like the intensity that they generate in comparison to a regular season game, it's just night and day. And I think you saw that intensity in those playing games. Like they were actually trying, is what I'm trying to say here.
Yes.
And it's just fantastic to watch. Anyway, So who were your standouts from the play-in tournament?
The play-in tournament. Play-out tournament.
It could be a play-out tournament.
It's pretty much depends where you're standing, right?
Yeah.
Josh Giddey.
Sure.
Simple as that. Josh Giddey was absolutely amazing.
Yeah.
In the first game, that is, in the second of the play-in games, Josh Giddey was not so good.
Look, I'm going to put the Kings and the Thunder in the same sentence here. I think that, or more so the Thunder than the Kings, what I'm about to say, but they're such a young team. So they were the youngest team in NBA history ever last year. So then to go from that to where they are now, in a play-in game, winning. And
That's
also
pretty impressive, right?
the people who are, the OKC supporters will say, well, we're
Mhm.
also missing Chet. And then in the future, we've still got, 15 more picks to come. So I think if you're an OKC
True.
supporter, you've got a lot to be optimistic about. And look, young players are going to be like that. They are going to be up and down. I think that's part of the development of, being a professional basketball player. But I think
Certainly.
irregardless of that, he played amazing. And I think the thing that really stood out for me that game is, yes, he put the ball into the basket. Like, I get that, but his decision making was, really fantastic. And
Yeah.
I think that was OKC's plan all along, is that you put 5 cerebral basketball players on the court at the same time who are also, very good athletes and can play
Mhm.
multiple positions. And, that's what you sort of get to. So I think in some ways they're a little bit of what the Raptors already are now, but just a younger version, I suppose.
Yeah, I can see that.
Yeah.
I can see that. It's yeah, I don't know. I think Josh Giddey was lights out, was crazy good uh in that first game, and that's where my focus was anyway.
Yeah.
The second game, look, I don't know. I feel like they're just sort of, whoever won that gets to get demolished by Denver. So really,
Yeah. I think Denver's going to be a tough out.
well, now apparently Rudy Gobert is saying is like, yeah, bring on Jokic, and what's he going to do? Punch him anyway.
Yeah.
But Josh Giddey, where do you think this kid's ceiling is? Like, hobby wise?
Yeah. So his prices at the moment actually surprised me. So he's currently, for a PSA 10 silver, is $325.
Mm-hmm.
His growth over the last 3 months is 2.77%. So basically, he's just been a flat line. And I'm actually surprised he's that high. Small market team.
Yeah.
He's not a fantastic athlete. He's dynamic, but I wouldn't say that he's showy.
Yeah.
He hasn't got, an oodle of Farrugia factor. So I'm very surprised by this. So, and we're going to go on to talk about 2 more people from the play-in. So probably my feeling about this card is, in comparison to the 2 other we're about to talk to, I think
Yeah.
this is actually a little bit overcooked. So I'd be a little bit cautious buying into that space, to be
Okay.
honest. Yeah.
So I'm trying to I like digging deeper into the reports. The PSA 9 price for Josh Giddey is quite the opposite to the PSA 10 price.
So
Now,
what's a 9 going for, boss?
so a silver 9 is currently, last sale, 58 US,
Yeah. So
which is weird, right?
I would put 2 things into that. Sometimes there can be points in the market where you just identified something that's good value. The second thing is, I suspect we're heading towards that Pokemon PSA 10, PSA 9 thing where 10s are like 4 or 5 times more than 9s. So
Yeah.
this actually might become the new norm. You know,
Okay.
yeah.
Okay.
So yes, I think that's fine. I think that's a very good buy, and I think you've identified something in the market. Like, I'm definitely not talking you down, but I would also say I wouldn't be going out buying that thinking you're going to 3x your money. Like, I don't think that's going to happen.
I don't
Yeah.
think that's going to happen.
Yeah.
But what I am looking at the moment is, I'm looking at Josh Giddey Silver. Funnily enough, on Card Ladder, there's no PSA 8.
Okay.
Interesting.
Sure.
There were SGC 10s.
But that also could be just the statistic availability. So, for example, if you went to GemRate, where they've got all of the stats, I think you would find that, because there's no way there's not 7s, 6s, 5s.
Yeah, fair enough. Fair enough.
Yeah.
There's PSA 10s, there's SGC 10s.
Yeah, I
Very
think
big
that's
difference between those two, by the way. And I get it, different grading companies, different prices. But so it's like 102 for the SGC 10, but the raw silver last sold for $27.
yeah, right.
Now, if PSA 9s are 58, silvers are anywhere from, like, they've been selling on eBay for $11.
So I really like this whole conversation, actually, for a lot of reasons, because we've actually just touched on 3 price points, which I think is really
Yeah.
important, because depending on your X budget, you can now get a Josh Giddey silver rookie card.
Yeah.
And can I be honest with you? There's nothing wrong with a 9. If that
Yeah,
fits
I
your
agree.
if that
I
fits your
agree.
budget, a 9 is a very, very in good condition card. So I think sometimes we get caught up in this whole 9, 10 business, and like, that's fine, like, we should, but at the same time,
Well, the reason we get caught up on it is because It's the Zion Luka thing, right? The sheer volume of cards. There's PSA 10s. There's only currently 60 of them.
Yeah.
PSA 9, there's currently 200.
Yeah.
So, yes, relatively new product as far as grading goes, but grading has changed in the fact that we don't have the crazy levels of base being graded anymore.
Yeah.
We're probably not going to get to, just make sure I'm not, no, even base. This population is 400 on PSA 10. Like, it's not 22,000 cards. It's not halfway to 22,000 cards. People aren't just grading the crap out of Josh Giddey, probably because of who he is. He's not.
Yeah, I think Giddey is not
He's
the
not
same.
Cade.
He's not the same prospect level. Yeah.
True, but like obviously being an Aussie, he does have a strong presence in our local market.
Yeah.
But yeah, there are opportunities, and those opportunities, as you said, are for a variety of price points. So
yeah. So the next team I think we should talk about is the Atlanta Quinn Snyders. I'm super high on Quinn Snyder. I don't understand why he and Utah broke up. Like, he's just a fantastic coach, honestly. So if you watch the Hawks this season, you can actually see like a marked, difference in the way that they're playing now. And the game that they played against the Miami Heat in that first elimination game was just awesome. I think they played a really, really good game of basketball. And I thought Trae was excellent.
really?
I think he's taken a lot of criticism. He's been in trade rumors, frequently. And I think for him to go out and play like that actually shows a lot of fortitude. And I'm actually quite happy for the guy. So I really hope he plays well in this year's playoffs. Card value wise, PSA 10 last sold for $256. So if you've forgotten, if your memory's about as good as mine, Giddey's selling for $70 more than Trae's at the moment. And,
wow.
And I think if you sort of, rewind the clock back a couple of years, there was sort of a very small moment in time where people were choosing between Luka and Trae. And that was like a real conversation because you could get a Trae for, probably half the price of like what a Luka was. And you were kind of like, well, is he half the player of what Luka is? I think that was like a real thing. So he's really fallen off though. So he's down 20% in the last 3 months.
Yeah. He's definitely in decline.
He's down 42% the last 6 months. And then the last 12 months, he's down 67%. So,
jeez.
So, look,
a year ago he's almost 700 US.
Do you want to know what his high price all time is?
Oh, please.
3,758. Oh, God, that's rough, isn't it, man?
Wow.
So I suppose like the question is for me with this guy is like clearly he's down and he's down quite a lot.
That's nuts.
It's really like the Cade conversation a month ago. It's like when is then a good conversation to jump in on this guy? I think this is a better buy than the Giddey because you've got that price difference, which is, $70 USD. And actually, I probably think Trae is a better leading man than what Giddey is. Sounds sacrilegious because I'm Australian, but at the same time, you have to be like realistic about these things.
All right. So
where do you sit on this, mate?
I worry with Trae Young.
What's your concern with Trae Young? Because obviously you're not the only person who has concerns about this guy.
I just don't know if you can resurrect that superstar level image. I don't know. I feel like he might end up on it as a number 2 on someone else's team. And what does that do for him hobby wise? That's I suppose. So say he goes to.
I don't buy any of those trade rumors, by the way. I still think
he stays in Atlanta. I think
he's the cornerstone. It makes no sense to me for him to get traded.
Yeah, but I don't know. Atlanta seem to be building, and then they're not building at the moment. Like, what are they doing? Like, they changed. I felt like they started to zag once they acquired DeJounte Murray.
I actually like that. I thought that was a great pickup, and he makes a lot of sense to me with Murray. I actually think that's what Quinn Snyder has to like work that piece out. So for me, there's 3 things that I think is important for the Hawks. I think what you just spoke about then. The second part is Cam Reddish not panning out for them. I think that was very devastating for them.
True.
And then the next thing is like the Clint Capella, John Collins thing. It's like you can't spend that much money and get the output that they have from that. So either,
yeah,
you know what I mean?
It's tough.
Yeah.
I don't know. I think it's a risky prospect, and if I was investing the money at the moment, I'd probably buy a bunch of Giddies raw and try and grade to a 10. But
Yeah, yeah, and that's, by the way, that is a very fine play. I would not argue with that.
if I picked up a PSA 10 Giddey, if I could get it for 250 to 300 instead of like that 325 mark, like if they were like for like, I think Giddey's got the upward trajectory. I feel like Giddey has the potential to be the number one on OKC's roster.
More than Chet and more than
Chet hasn't
SGA?
played a game yet, and SGA seems very one-dimensional these days.
Really?
Feels. I don't know. He just...
Because my concern with OKC is I think that SGA will be like their shot maker at the end of the games. So when you turn on ESPN and watch the highlights, are you going to be seeing all that?
So you're going to get... Yeah.
Are you going to be seeing all that robust, hard work that Giddey's doing, or are you going to be seeing like SGA with a step back, with the game winner? Do you know what I mean? Like, that would be true. Like my concern.
Yeah, very, 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 very valid.
And then you spoke about Chet. I agree with you. Like, he hadn't played a game, but his stuff is still selling like crazy. So
but we all know how crazy people can be.
Yeah, but still, do you know what I'm saying? Like, even yes, he hasn't played a game, but people are still prospecting.
Hasn't played a game, haven't won a championship. We can talk about those people later.
All right. So the next one I think we should talk about is Cat, and I think so. Look, he didn't put up great numbers, but the thing that really caught my eye was with Gobert being out and with McDaniels being out, he had to do a lot, and I actually thought he played pretty well. I think offensively he was. Screening, he was shooting, he was passing, he was, facilitating, and defensively, I thought he was pretty good. But this is like not the epiphany I had, but maybe the realization is that I don't think he's ever going to be a superstar.
Karl Anthony Towns.
So that game we saw of him,
yeah,
he's an all-star, all that type of stuff, but maybe that's it. So his current price PSA 10 is $350, and maybe
wow.
This is his ceiling. This is his floor. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, this is kind of like where he sits. And again, so going back to the two other comps we had, so we've got Trae at 250, so he's higher than Trae.
Yep.
And he's fractionally higher than Giddey, $25 higher. Yep. Maybe that's...
And he's been around for what? Is 2015, 16?
2015 is his draft year. Correct, yeah.
Yeah. So we've had a solid 8 years of product.
Yeah, but also we've had a good 8 years of him playing, right? So this,
that's what I mean. Like, it's established. It's not.
Yeah. So, I think the prospecting days on Towns is done. I think if you're buying into this guy now, I wouldn't be expecting massive rises, and I probably wouldn't be expecting much to fall. So over the last year, he's down 41%, but the last 6 months he's down 8%. So that's, that's one or two sales could swing that either way pretty easily.
Now, there was someone else in that game.
Yeah, sure. Talk to me.
Anthony Edwards had a career low.
I didn't talk about Edwards almost on purpose. I'm not
against the Lakers. He played his career worst game, but he stepped right back up and answered. The question is he? Because he shoots all three out of the park, right?
So I think if someone has a career low game, again, this is what I was sort of saying with the Thunder. It's like they're so young. Like, you got to give these kids a chance, and maybe nerves has got the better of him. It's it's as simple as that.
Okay, so Anthony Edwards, and I'm gonna throw this out.
Yeah, talk to me about Edwards. I don't have Edwards open. So
last sold price $493 US, and that is actually down
for a PSA 10. Is it
for PSA 10?
Yeah.
Sale prior to that was $592. So we'll say $600 US.
Sure. Yeah.
Right. Just $600 US. So you can either buy 2 Trae Youngs
and a bit.
Yep. And have change to buy, I don't know,
some pocket change.
A raw Giddey. Or you could buy 2 Giddies. Do you know what I mean? Like, is Edwards that good? Well, actually, you couldn't buy it. You could buy a Giddey and a Trae.
So so this is my take on Edwards, is that he is still very young.
Agreed.
your initial thought of him is that he's a slasher, but actually he's a prolific 3-point shooter. And
Ooh.
that's what you need in the current NBA. The other thing is, and I'm running this off the top of my head, if you
Yeah.
mapped out the entire league, and this was the same thing when Kobe was like in his prime, the shooting guard position was actually a relatively weak position. It's not as weak today as it was back then.
Yeah.
And I'm not throwing shade on Kobe. So if you guys are listening at home saying like, oh, he's just saying that Kobe's numbers were pumped up because the league was weak at shooting guard, that's not what I'm saying. I'm just saying if you like, analyzing the league from that thing, it's just like in fantasy basketball where sometimes you have to pay a bit extra for a better shooting guard because there's not that many good ones. So I would say this is the same thing, but like in a hobby sort of context. So I still think that while I think that's high, I still think it's too early to jump off the Anthony Edwards train. I think this guy's got a lot of potential.
Yeah, agreed.
Yeah.
But I'm just saying, price wise,
It's high. It's absolutely high.
but yeah, I definitely think you're right. When you said Karl Anthony Towns isn't ever going to be the star, this is Edwards' team now.
Definitely.
We're in a transition period.
That's
And
exactly what
in
we
that,
saw in the last couple of weeks. That's right. This is going to be Edwards' team, 100%.
and in that transition period, there's going to be a lot of regret about what they gave up for Rudy Gobert.
Oh, gee, don't even get me started on that. I'm not even a Wolves fan, and that gives me a headache.
Like, oh god, yeah.
All right,
yeah.
Pocket change dated the 31st of March. Thank you, Adam, for putting this up, mate.
That's all right. We've got the ADOS gave me a lovely photo with some copper coins.
What currency is that? British
I didn't
pence, maybe?
Maybe. I don't know, but we got a few responses. It looks like we've got Karan for the first time contributing. Good to see him the other week at EJ's, and plugging our sponsor as well in Pocket Change. $2 at EJ's for a Jalen Johnson rated rookie.
Yeah,
I like the color. I like the color scheme of the red and green.
And Johnson is a good prospect too. So I think you have absolutely nailed that, mate.
I love it. What was the other one? D'Lo Mosaic.
Yep.
Number
Beautiful.
to for $4. Number to 88.
Yep.
So very nice. Then we have. Have you got Pocket Change open?
I do. So Richard Westwood, $5 for a Silver Crusades Cade Cunningham rookie. That is excellent, Richard.
That is a beautiful looking card, actually.
Get that card into a penny sleeve, Richard. You're giving me a headache, mate. Lachlan Blunt, our all-time commenter, he picked up a Alvin Adams impeccable on-card auto for $5.50. That is amazing.
I love it how it's now screenshots of the eBay sale, like the purchase.
It's just easy that way.
Got this. Yep. This is Pocket Change. But he's put the full card in the...
That's fine.
There in the comment. It's good. It was fantastic. See original listing. Cheap as chips. Love it. What was the next one? Lachlan again. The MT. What have we got?
Sarunas Marshallonis.
Yeah, I'm glad you pronounced that. There was no way on earth. For a name like that, it's a very short signature. That's all I'm going to say.
There's a lot of words I cannot pronounce, but that is one word that I can actually pronounce. I'm quite happy with that.
I just feel like the squiggle doesn't match the number of letters in his name.
He was a Jet, that guy. He was a really good player, and he played on that Run TMC Golden State Warriors team. I quite liked his game. I'm going to do mine. This is my next one. I got this for a cent, and the guy posted it out too.
I cannot believe how much postage you paid. $3.51 you paid for this.
And do you know the funny thing about that? He actually refunded $1 postage to me. I didn't even ask why. I didn't message him, nothing. He just sent me back $1. I was like, right, that's fine. So it's off-centered a little bit. That's fine. It's a orange cracked ice Davion Mitchell Prism rookie card. So I'm pretty happy about that. Great.
That is sweet.
You want to do the last one, Ad?
It's Lachlan again with Precious Achua, is it?
Yep.
Rookie auto to 99 for $8.50.
Beautiful. They have really nice cards too in hand.
What?
So there's nice, big, thick cards. Yep.
All right. I think Lachlan might have to come onto the show and tell us how to set up his eBay alerts. He's got pocket change filters. He has.
Yeah. It's probably
pocket change. Literally pocket change filters.
Yep. Alrighty. So I found this article from actionnetwork.com. The author is Darren Rovell. and it titles Zion Williamson cards hit all-time lows. Collectors start to lose hope. So, I mean, I don't need to read the whole article to you, but basically it goes through like a couple of points and it talks about the number of cards graded. It talks about prices. I'll put it onto the socials for you guys to read. It's definitely worth a read. And look, a lot of it, I would say this isn't going to be news to you guys, particularly if you listen to this podcast. This is stuff that we touch on a fair bit, but it's just good to sort of hear someone else's perspective. But I wanted to get just off the headline alone, because, realistically, that's all you probably need to, hear or read, Ad. But what's your thoughts on people losing hope on Zion? Because I think that for me is really the key word.
Well, there's got to come a time, right?
Yeah.
There's literally, there
Yeah.
comes a time where you go from prospecting
Yeah.
and having hope that his career is going to be resurrected, that he's going to stay healthy and stay on the floor and be the dominant man that he can be.
Yeah.
And then time after time to be disappointed the way the fans have been.
Yeah.
People are just like, let's cut our losses now because it's only going to get worse. And that's what all the trends are showing, especially with the way the hobby is at the moment.
Let's summarize the last 2 years. So on the last month, he's actually plus 0.16%. So basically nothing. The last 3 months, he's down 27%. The last 6 months, he's down 57%. The last year, he's down 62%. Now hold on to your seats, lads. The last 2 years, he's down 87%. The high price sold there was $5,010. He's currently trading at 632. So I think in some ways, that article, when it's saying collectors are starting to lose hope, I wonder if actually maybe that ship has already sailed and, people have lost hope.
Well, the card ladder value is 700. He's saying he's a bargain at 650.
Yeah, right.
It's pretty bad. It's when you think about it.
I think there's a lot of people out there who would be feeling pretty sad and sorry about themselves in that sense. Definitely, yeah.
Yeah. Look, Zion. You were talking earlier in the show about people paying crazy prices for cards, right? And on the basis of what? Like he was projected. This is Chet, right? Chet's injured. Chet's been wrapped up in cotton wool. We haven't seen Chet play a game. Is this what they're paying insane prices for? Is this what they can expect? If he doesn't, there'll come a point where you have to pull the trigger and go, I have to sell this to recoup costs, or I just strap in and hold.
Yeah.
They're the two choices, right? It's jump ship or hold on to your piece of cardboard that may not be worth anywhere near what you paid for it.
Yeah. And so I think for me, I've got two responses to that. The first thing is it depends why you bought the card. Like that matters a lot. And the second thing is, and I would say I've learned from this the hard way. And look, I've not learned a $5,000 US lesson from it, but I've maybe learned a $5 and a $10 lesson. It's like, don't buy cards that you don't like. Even if you're buying them to flip, just say to yourself, it's very possible that I'm going to get stuck with this card. Do I actually like this card? Do I like looking at it? If the answer is yes, either way, you can't lose. You're either going to flip money or you're going to have a card that you like. Okay, yes, I lost a couple of bucks on it, but it's okay. I still like the card. I think for me, that's the worst thing. Having a card that you don't like and you've lost money on, it just like makes you...
It just sits there and stares at you.
Yeah, so you want to get the scissors and cut it up. You know what I'm saying? Like, so for me, that's, that's probably the takeaway from that. So look, it's shocking. So, okay, for me, now I go, do I now buy, hold, or sell this card? Where are you sitting on that?
At that price? I'm still not. I'm not even buying it. I'm ignoring it.
Because can I be honest with you? I'm concerned that this is going to keep going down because there's nothing that they said to me in the press release, and we spoke about the press releases either the last episode or the episode before that. They basically said they just...
the general manager came. It was such a... When we know more, you'll know more. Stop pestering us.
Yeah, and then Zion said, I'm good to go, but I'm still not playing. So that to me is like, again, massive alarm bells.
Is that them holding him back till next season? Like, what's
another
the point?
year? Another year. Look, I don't know. Look, I'm also not a sports scientist.
They're gonna go up against Denver, and it's gonna tack. I think they're very concerned. New Orleans is very concerned health wise.
Yeah,
that Zion is, because of his size, is going to have a limited career. I think he's the toll and his injury proneness.
Sure.
They want to
Yeah.
get the best out of him. So
Yeah,
they're
sure.
like, we're not wasting you on a playing game that's going to result in us maybe playing the Denver Nuggets and getting swept. So
Yeah.
we
Okay, that's
wrap you
fine.
up
Yeah.
and we come out and we try and get our home court next year.
Yeah, sure. Okay, look, that's fine. No problems.
But
I don't
in the
have a massive.
hobby, it's just like this guy's never going to stay healthy. This guy makes Anthony Davis look like the guy that can't get injured. Like Anthony Davis is on the court, has played consecutive games. He's actually due for an injury, Anthony Davis. But anyway,
Absolutely.
he's due.
Look, I'm not touching this.
There's a lot of hype in the league, and I'm starting to come around to I obviously you get this with prospecting, right? On a young prospect, you don't. The reason you try and get value in the hobby is no one knows where this guy's career is going to go. But you're backing someone like Zion. If you're paying 5,000 US for that card, you're not paying
Oh god.
5,000 US to watch him eat burgers on the sidelines.
I'm pouring some out at the moment for the person who paid 5,000 for that card.
Yeah.
That's brutal. Yeah.
Right? You're investing in, you're backing them, and you're like, you know what? I believe in this player. I believe they're one of the most talented players to have ever played the game. Now, put your, I don't know, logic hat on and say, would I rather spend money on that, or would I rather go and buy a Steph Curry or a Nikola Jokic rookie card?
Yeah.
If I'm going to spend $5,000 US.
I can also imagine at that time, so this is also the same time that, remember, the Jordan card was being spoken about as $1 million like card. So
All
I think,
right. Could I just do this quickly?
Yeah, of course you can. Go.
Last sold price on a Stephen Curry base Raw 2009 tops, $676. My advice to you people, sell those Zions now and buy a Steph, because that card only goes up. He's one of the great. He's one of the greatest shooters of all time.
He's mostly, his career has been played out. Yeah. You're not banking on a maybe.
There's no maybes. There is not a clean slate. There is a slate with accolades chiseled on it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like it is. He's an established, star of the game.
He changed the game, definitely.
Yeah. And that's I just think he's a good example. But like we're talking about Jokic being a little bit underrated hobby wise, and what a championship will do for it. We've talked about how Luka's done nothing, and we're in the same boat with Luka, with people jumping ship on Luka.
I'm not in the same boat as you on Luka. I'm pretty sure I was like quite explicit about that.
We have a situation where there is a lot of talk of people losing confidence in Luka Doncic.
No, I don't agree with that. I think we travel in different Twitter circles. I'm sorry.
Apparently, Luka did refute the claim that he's going to demand a trade. He wants to stay in Dallas.
It makes no sense. Why would he demand a trade? No, we're not going down the Luka. We're not doing the Luka rabbit hole. We're not.
And you know what that means? Yeah. Kyrie's not re-signing. That's why Luka's staying.
Alrighty.
Simple as that. Anyway.
The next link down says not NBA. So if you could please click that, my man. This is from Eric, my Twitter crush.
I was going to say, it's just prompted me for safe search. Is it no, I'm joking.
The collectibles guru. I've never seen anything like this. It looks like Panini accidentally sent a Justin Herbert 1/1 to Derek Carr. So then Carr signed the game and put on the score from the Week 18 game when the Raiders eliminated the Chargers, and then sent it back to Panini. And looks like they've given it out, in the box. So that's amazing. I rarely go outside of NBA, but I think there has to be the very, very rare occasion that we do. And I think this is just amazing. The other thing I was trying to think about too is, like, is there anything comparable in this in NBA?
Not that.
Like, it's just epic.
I can't think of anything, no.
So my sort of thoughts on this too is that this just really emphasizes the difference between an on-card and a sticker. And just how amazing on-card autographs actually are.
Yeah, I'm down with that for sure.
So I've been trying to work this into the show for a couple of weeks. So this is my I want to be like a consultant for Fanatics or Panini or whatever. You know the sticker size, what they are. I think they should make them twice as big because you know how we have that issue of the stickers being cut off, like the autograph is cut
Oh
off because
yeah,
the
yeah,
sticker is
yeah.
too small. Wouldn't it be logical they just make
A bigger
bigger
sticker?
sticker?
Would they just sign bigger and end up going outside the lines anyway?
I don't know. I think
Plans are
actually,
weird.
do you think about it? Like it's quite difficult to sign in that sort of small space.
It is. It is.
It's
Have you
like when you
tried to
do your
print?
credit card on the
I was going
back,
to
you
say
know?
the back of your
Yeah,
credit
sorry,
card.
Ed, I
There you
stole
go.
that
You
from you.
just
Yeah,
yep.
yeah.
But the pen never works anyway, so you got to go with 3 or 4 goes.
Let's tie this off, Ad.
Jump in and do another one for the midweek pod. How's
Absolutely.
that?
Yeah.
All right. Let's tie this one off.
Yep.
Have you been down to EJ Cards before we wrap up everything?
I haven't been down to the new shop actually,
No.
and it's school holidays, isn't it? I could take the
It
kids down.
is. Oh, that's a good idea. The other
Only
thing
for
I
the
was
kids'
going to say,
benefit, not for my benefit, though.
sounds like it's very doing it for Pokemon.
Absolutely.
Do it for
Absolutely.
the Pokemon cards. Couple of weeks, there's actually a local card show that I was going to see if it caught your interest at all on the 29th
Sure.
out in Cranbourne. So
Yeah, sure. If I'm around,
we
no worries.
might go and check out some cardboard there. But
Great.
yeah, thanks to everyone for tuning in and say hi to us on socials. Reach out, ask us questions. Like
Questions are good.
throw random insults if you want. I don't mind. I got a thick skin.
You do, eh?
All right. Thanks everybody for tuning in, and we'll be back next episode.
Thanks, guys. Bye bye.